Hey guys, it is San here. Welcome back to another Style Word video. Welcome if you are new here. So glad to have you all. Today's video is a sit down and talk with you so that you can get to know me a little better. So I'm going to share with you today 11 things that you may want to know about me. So let's dive right in. The first is, where am I from? I was brought up on an island in a very small town, the island of Jamaica, in a very small town of St. Catherine. And we were like somewhere in between town and country. So kind of had a little mix of both worlds. Very quiet, very neighborly, warm, friendly, loving, supportive individuals. And everyone, when they say it takes a village to raise a child, everyone partook in bringing up the children in the town. So my grandmother was the one who actually brought me up. I was not brought up by my mother. I was brought up by my grandmother, and she actually was a very disciplined woman, very principled, disciplined, and super religious and spiritual. And she passed down a lot of that to us. She was a self-made type of woman where she did extremely well, earning a living. After my grandfather passed away, she really held down the fort and then some. So her way of earning her living was to grow crops on the property, and to take care of us grandchildren, which is something she kind of voluntarily did because she had given birth and brought up her 3 children. But then when my mom had children, she took all 5 of us. It's 6 of us, but she took all 5 of us at the time from my mom. So it's 3 girls, 3 boys. And she brought us up. And then my mom sent for us when I was around age 11. She started with the girls first and then the boys. And so she sent for us. She was here in the States and working and so on. And so she decided to send for us. And I was not happy about leaving my best friend, my childhood best friend, and the freedom of roaming acres and acres of land and eating fresh fruits and from the backyard, because that's how my grandmother earned her living. She grew crops on the land and serviced the community. And she was the person the townspeople go to buy their fresh produce whenever they needed it. She was very much a humanitarian, very kind, very warm, very godly, very godly. Let me just say, to a T, she was a bona fide Christian woman. So she brought us up that way. She never missed a beat on a Sunday, and neither did us. So we were always at Sunday school, even when I was trying to be naughty and pretend I was sick one Sunday so I didn't have to get out of my bed so early. I was like, "Oh, Grandma, I'm sick." And she was like, all the better, because only God can heal you. So she did not joke around when it came to going to church. There was no excuse in why we couldn't go. So that's number 1. So I've been here over 3 decades now. So, and I've worked and but I haven't gone out of the U.S., which is sad, because that's another part of what you need to know about me. So number 2 is, I'm truly an adventurer at heart. I would really love to travel. It is something I've always wanted to do. But because life has been so busy and super crazy, I haven't had the opportunity to travel the way I would have loved to have traveled. Like, outside of the U.S. I've traveled within the U.S. Of course, all you really need is your driver's license. Of course, I had that, and your Social Security card. Of course, I have that. So it was just within the domestic travel that I did. But I wanted to do international travel and go to different places like Greece and Paris and Italy, Bali, which I'm craving. Actually, I'm like thinking about wanting to move there. If I go visit there and I love it that much as I'm loving the pictures, or Switzerland, because Switzerland is so lush with nature. And that's the thing, because I'm such an adventurous person who loves nature and love going on nature trails. That's the other thing. Whenever I get can get the opportunity, I try to make time for at least once a week. Especially on a Saturday or something where I can go on a trail. I will most definitely do that, because I just love being in the midst and folds of nature. It makes me happy. It just makes me feel better altogether, more tranquil and calm and relaxed. It's so soothing, so like transformative and healing and restorative, So I enjoy going on hikes, trail walks. I'm that type of person that will go climb Mount Kilimanjaro, even if it means by myself. I will do that, because when I was a little girl, I did a whole lot of exploring of nature. My grandmother's only rule was this, and it was pretty simple. You come home from school, you take care of your schoolwork and any chores that you have to do, and the same thing on the weekends. If you have any chores, do that. And as long as you're back before sundown for dinner time, that's all. And I took serious advantage of that. So as soon as I got home, I made sure I did my homework, and if I had any chores, house chores, I did that, and I was out the door in nature, exploring, climbing trees, eating berries, picking fruits, fresh fruits, and eating them, and learning, laying down on my belly in the dirt to watch this amazing plant that would, whenever you get close to it, it would close, and when you move away, its leaves would open back up. We used to call it shame old lady. I don't know what they call it here. I've seen some pics of it. I was like, oh, that's that plant. I used to lay in this hot blazing sun on my belly in the dirt for hours, trying to figure out how does that work. So that's me. I'm that type of person. I have that very investigative type of mindset. So I always want to know how things work, why it work or don't, blah 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 blah. So that is number 2. Number 3, my favorite color. So you guys probably know this by now if you've been watching my other videos. I often talk about my favorite color, which is yellow. I'm wearing it today, surprisingly, that I chose to do this video today. And I love all shades and tones of yellow. So the mustardy yellow, the super bright yellow, faded, muted tones of yellow, and all the way to yellow gold, as I call it. So I love gold as well. So when I was a little girl, whenever my grandmother was gonna buy me clothes or was gonna buy fabric to have our clothes tailor-made, because that's how we got our clothes made. We had a town seamstress and tailor, and so we had to get most of our clothes tailor-made. Very seldomly did she buy us pre-made clothes. And so she would ask me, what do I want? Yellow, 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 yellow. So I winded up with everything in yellow, from my hair clips and ribbons down to my socks were yellow. My top was yellow, my skirt was yellow, my shorts was yellow. Everything, my dress, everything I wore, just about everything was yellow. The only thing that wasn't yellow was my shoes, because they didn't have much yellow shoes to choose from back then. But I was all yellowed out from head to toe, guys, seriously. So number 4. Okay, so my favorite hobby. I would have to say my favorite hobby is cooking, because I like to get creative in the kitchen. I love to cook, especially when I can put my own creative spin on it. I'm a creative person at heart. So I like to get really DIY and authentic with my meals. So I'll come up with stuff that no one's ever even seen before. So um, yeah, I'm working on the website so I can share these things. And I actually had one point had started a cookbook. So because my children are like, Mom, you should every time whenever you make something so different and so good. Okay, so I was like, oh, maybe that's a good idea. So I actually started it, but then I lost the material because I lost my computer. Anyway, that's a whole nother story. Number 5, now that I'm talking about it, I am a mother of 3 sons. My oldest is 22, my middle guy is 21, and the youngest is 18, who just graduated from high school in May and is off to military, to the army. He decided to do not combat. I didn't agree with it, but you know, he said it was his choice. Anyway, but even though we were talking about him becoming an engineer, he said he wanted to be an electrical engineer. We were talking about getting him into Stanford University in California, and then suddenly we had this, you know, sudden switcheroo without my knowledge. Anywho, said it was his decision, and so now he is off in the military doing a desk job, he said, along the same lines of engineering. So more of a techie type of side of things. Anyway, so which leads me to be now being an empty nester because all of my sons are off doing their own thing, living their own lives. The oldest 2 are into construction. So yeah, empty nester, and I kind of give away my age there a little bit. Anywho, where are we? Number 5, I think, or number 6? Number 6. So I'm an author. I'm a published author of 4 books. One which is on Barnes & Noble, and the title is Love and Consciousness, my very first book, and it is a self-help type of poetry book. It was mostly poetry, but I did it in a different way than a normal poetry book and added the self-help portion to it because I realized there was a message in every poem. And over the years, as I wrote them, I was always pushed to do something with my poems because they're so amazing. People would compliment me on them about them. So I finally decided to take their advice and went ahead and I self-published. I designed the cover and the whole 9 yards myself. So again, my first book is Love and Consciousness, and it is a poetry book. So yes, I am a poet. I love to write poetry. It's something I do with ease. I can write a poem in like 5 minutes, and I surprised myself. I'm like, whoa, where did that come from? Anyway, so I love to write. I'm a writer. I love writing stories as well. I've started on like 3 novels. Again, I lost the material because I lost my computer, but now I'm hoping to start a new book, which is pretty much a life story, but I'm gonna tell it in a, you know, in a very third person type of way. Anyway, so I'm going to consider getting that going as soon as possible. I started again, but yet again I lost the material. Unbelievable. And I was so far into it, guys. That burns me so badly. Anyway, so I have 4 books in total. I have 3 other books, and those are within the self-help truism type of genre book, more like a coffee table, you know, conversation pieces. One is a little book of truisms, A Fearless You Now, and Love Notes from the Universe. So I have those 3 in addition to the poetry book. So yeah, I'm an author. I love to write. I love to write stories, articles, blog posts, and poems. All right, number 7. I'm a designer, and that stretches wide and far because I'm not just a particular designer. I design jewelry. I do graphics, like from logos to even my logo for my Style Word. I designed that. Any social media post or graphics that you see on any of my site or on my sites, my social sites, were done by me. I do wedding invitation. I did my sister's wedding invitation. I think I was one of those first people who were putting people's pictures on their wedding invites, and yeah, and that was about 15 or more years ago when I first did that wedding invitation. So I do loads of things. I do posters. I even did a pamphlet for a doctor and a birthday invitation for a doctor as well. So yeah, I kind of started a little small on the side when, you know, I was living in a different state than where I am currently. And I had a little graphic design business going with doing wedding invitations and brochures and flyers and business cards and whatnot. So I do it all. I create websites, even I design them, you know, via templates. I'm not a coder, but I can take a template and turn it into something someone wants. So yeah, I design jewelry. I even had an Etsy shop at one point. Again, I lost all that stuff because I went through a difficult ordeal where I lost everything. So I'm like starting from scratch here. So yeah, but I designed jewelry, some pieces where people would say to me, oh my gosh, those are museum worthy pieces. You really need to take those to the Smithsonian. So I was like, really? Come on. No, but they were truly serious, but I didn't, whoops, got lipstick on my teeth. I, you know, didn't really see it like that, but they did, you know. But anyway, so I design jewelry, I do graphics of all sorts, and I do fashion. So I design t-shirts. I love to design t-shirts. I put graphic, like textual graphics, things that are inspirational, meaningful, like, you know, thought-provoking words or phrases on t-shirts, and, you know, some cool little graphic designs on it to coincide with it. And I also designed fashion. When I was in high school, I used to design my friends, I designed some of my friends, prom gowns, and I also designed some pieces for myself where people thought I was wearing some expensive designer brand. I was like, no, I designed that. Yeah, so it's something that my creativity is something that came about from my childhood, when, you know, I used to go out and exploring nature and learning. It really opened up my creativity. So I would have to attribute my creative abilities to being out in nature when I was a little girl, and I guess it's a divine type of gift as well, I would say. So from my creator, our creator, and okay, so numbers, was that 7 or I think I'm losing count here. This may be number 8, I think. Yes, so number 8, I'm a multi-passionate. So yes, I design, I write, I am all into health and wellness and fitness. I'm into politics. I am in that world talk issue sense, where the things that affect us as people. I'm truly concerned, and I have a voice in which I want to express those concerns. And I also like to get into like life talks, you know, that are for personal growth and development. I've learned so much throughout the years, and I feel like I've, you know, one of those old souls where you just come knowing a little bit more than usual. So I kind of share from that inner depth space as well. So I love to give life talks, as I do here on my Style Word channel. Every now and then I, you know, like do a little sit down and share a bit of what I know and have learned and experienced, so, and what I've taken away from it all. So yeah, I'm a multi-passionate. So yeah, it can be a blessing and a curse, because you may start one thing and then you jump to the next because you get some new exciting idea, and they come so frequently often because I'm such a creative thinker and problem solver. So it just comes like in the whim of a moment. I could be sleeping and I get an idea, and I get up, and so now I sleep with a notepad and pen next to my table so I can jot down. So I have like notebooks and notebooks of ideas that I have yet, some of which I've lost sadly during the situation where I lost everything. Anywho, so, but I've regained a lot of those ideas. They came back to me, and I've bought new notebooks, and I've now through 2 notebooks. So, yeah, loads and loads and loads and loads and loads of ideas, really good ideas. And anywho, so I'm a multi-passionate in those areas: writing, designing, inventing, because I even have something I would love to invent, to like build and put it out there. So yeah, totally. And I'm also super passionate about, living a green, clean lifestyle. So I'm really enthusiastic about writing about health and wellness, and sharing all of which I've learned over the years. So yeah, total multi-passion. Again, it can be a blessing or a curse, because you're like don't know which one to start with, and you get excited when you get a new idea. So anywho, all right, number 9. I'm, as I stated, I'm a health and wellness enthusiast. So I dive deep into the green, clean lifestyle. I only invest and spend my money because buying is really voting. So you're literally investing or voting for the way of life in which you want to live by what you support with your coins. So it's important to support things, I believe, that are people and planet friendly, because it moves us forward in that healthy, balanced way of life where all benefit rather than few. So I'm all about the, taking care of oneself, self-caring, in the greenest, cleanest, non-toxic of ways. So, and you can say I'm an ambassador of health and wellness, if you will. So I try to steward people and, share with people what I know in that area as well. I do have a blog for that specifically, so you may find me here and there on the web. I'm doing several different things. So really my passion, just trying to cater to my passions in a somewhat balanced way. It's like a hard ball to juggle when you're a multi-passionate. Anyway, so, but you focus on one main thing and you try to get that done first and foremost, and then you can move on to conquering the others or manifesting the other ideas or passions that you have. All right, number 10, I'm single. So, and I've been single for the past 11 years. I just have really focused in on being a good mom, mother to my children. I really didn't, I don't know, I kind of blocked out everything else, and focused on being a good mom to my children, being there for them, guiding them and nurturing them, and, just sitting down and spending time with them, so that other things don't do it for me, other not so good things. So I just wanted to make sure I was there for them, because I am a single mother. I wanted to, when they were here, I wanted to make sure that I was available to them to meet their needs emotionally, mentally, physically, and, just being supportive and attentive to their needs and wants, so they don't go looking for it elsewhere, and just sharing, what I know with them, so they can grow up to be intelligent, wise young men. And so far, they're still good. They've had their little hiccups along the way, but so for the most part, they've been pretty awesome young men. So yeah, so I'm single and have been for the past 11 years. And everyone keeps saying, "How come you're single?" And I'm like, good question. I've just been kind of, in my own little zone here. And another thing is I've been focusing on creating the life that I want for myself. And to be honest, during this period of being single, I learned so much about myself. So much. I've grown so much more, and I've become so much more stronger that I know exactly what I want and don't want, you know, for myself personally and from a partner, a potential future partner, whomever that may be. So yeah, and I've become quite empowered with a lot of the getting to know thyself during my singleness. So I've gotten closer to my creator, to the, you know, that ultimate divine source within this universe. So yeah, learned a lot about myself, and I'm certainly not where I used to be. I've grown tremendously, emotionally, personally, mentally. So yeah, absolutely. So, single. And number 11, I'm an avid, and last, so 11 things about me. An avid learner. So I love to learn. I love reading. When I was in school, I was quite the nerd. I was called a nerd and, you know, a geek and whatnot. So, you know, those are names in which I can accept. I can't get mad about. At least I wasn't being called a slut or a whore, so because I was none of those things. So yeah, I was called a nerd, bookworm, a geek. Because I was so focused on my learning. You know, I was in no competition with anyone but myself, trying to prove to myself that I can do X, Y, and Z. And so whenever I had a project or a paper to be done and I knew the deadline, I went straight after school to the library and started on the paper to make sure I was done ahead of time and was able to turn it in ahead of time. I took time to study whenever I need to study for a test or exam, and I self-tested myself. My mom was busy working the night shift, so she was seldomly home when I was home from school, and when she was home I was already in bed, you know, sleeping. So a lot of that brought out major self-discipline and self-will, so I had to take the initiative to do things because I didn't have someone to help me as I did my children. Say, hey guys, you know, if you need any help, I'm here. If you need to be tested, if you want me to test you on what you just studied, I'm here. You know, I didn't have that, but I wanted to give that to my children though. And so I had to do everything on my own, so it really strengthened me in the self-discipline, self-motivation area, to the point where I wound up making the honor roll every quarter. Graduated with honors and was given, because I earned as a member of the National Honor Society, and then went on to college and made the Dean's List. So I was pretty much a nerd, and I'm still a little nerd today. I'm still very nerdy today because I self-study. I love to do research. You know, I read, yeah, from articles, blog posts, books. I'll watch a documentary for 2 or 3 hours if it's something I'm interested in and it's informative, where it'll broaden my knowledge base. And I have brought my children up that way as well. My sons, I tell them, hey guys, if you want to know more, you got to pick up a book, you got to read, you got to study, you got to research. You really have to take the initiative to go outside of the classroom textbook to know more. And I had tons of books around, so they were able to read on other things. One of my sons, he was so into feng shui, so because I also studied design, so that was another thing that I have under my belt. I certified interior decorator. I did the course, completed it, passed it with flying colors, and when you do pass it with an A, they give you automatic membership with the CID. So anyway, so I have that sort of skill. It's something that comes naturally anyway, but it was nice to get the the more technical side of things, how to make a floor or furniture plan, and learning about the color scheme, color wheels, and so on. So, and the different design errors and periods. So it was a nice addition to what I'm naturally good at. So I'm naturally good at decorating, like interior decorating and design. So anyway. So yeah, so those are 11 things about me. So hopefully this kind of bring you a little closer to me, so you get to know me a little bit better, where I'm coming from, perhaps maybe get an insight on where I'm going. But yes, so thank you guys so much again. That's a wrap, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for watching, and as always, don't forget to like this video if you liked it. And comment, share, subscribe, and hit the notification bell if you haven't already done so, so that you can be notified whenever I do a new video. All right. Thanks, guys, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Have a wonderful evening. Bye.